Professor Balram Singh, who's the president of the Institute of Advanced Studies, is joining us on the broadcast. Professor Balram Singh, first of all, let me ask you the most obvious question. What do you make of what is about to happen in Ayodhya? So how significant is it for you sitting all the way in Massachusetts, sir?
Well, I do live in Massachusetts, but I am from Ayodhya. My home is in a village near Ayodhya. And so it is always pleasure. And fortunately, right now I'm in India, right now sitting in Delhi, but I will be, but I would be skipping the 22nd because we believe from Ayodhya side that we want other guests to come and enjoy because we can go there anytime. So we want all the people, because it's so crowded, we would like all people from all over the world. And I have offered my house, my village is only 28 miles. We do have a building that we are starting a center. It's only 2 kilometers from the airport in Ayodhya. We have an institute that we are starting for studying the spirituality, yoga, and Ayurveda. And so we have some housing there also, just in case any one of you are running short of housing, please let me know.
It might be our reporters for sure.
Yeah, sure. We'll be happy.
All right, Professor Singh. So, I mean, you have, of course, roots directly as geographically direct as possible. But in your life and your travels, and of course, building a life abroad, and I'm assuming a part of family is here and a part of family will be in the US with you.
Yes.
What is the significance then of Ram, of the spiritualism of the Ramayana, of the story, of the lessons it taught us, and how are they being propagated, or what interest is shown in them, in the people you interact with?
Huge interest. My family, my children, I have 3 children, they must have watched at least 10 times Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana. They know almost by memory, they cite Ramayana. It's such a enthralling story that anybody can associate. I mean, I'm just hearing what is happening in Sri Lanka, even though that was a different kind of
from a completely different perspective. Fascinating, no? How the perspectives changes, the story and the subtleties. It's absolutely fascinating to study and understand all of this.
I find Rama's story that despite people telling that he was God and he was avatar and he was a prince and he was a king, I think he was more than anything, he was just his character is that of a common person. And that's why people are able to associate. At any level, people can associate with him because and there is actually even a story that when he was going to become a prince, the gods, the angels conspired to make sure he doesn't become a prince. So because there is a problem whenever you have political power, even God can get affected by that. So he always remained a very simple personality all his life. And that allows people to get associated, whether they are in America, they are in Russia, and they are in Italy. I visited Italy recently because my daughter teaches in Bocconi University. Believe it or not, their culture is very much, I mean, Roman is not just simply Roman because somebody wanted to call it Roman. There is a region, and I think Bala will be happy to see in Milan. I was walking and I saw a bookstore called Mondadori bookstore. And so you can just imagine there is a city also called Ramana. And so this just shows that people did not hate Ramana or the Sri people from Lanka.
I agree. Obviously, I'm not an authority on it, and like I said, it's just the journey itself of how it is perceived. Of course, it's fascinating of how the Ramayana is perceived from the Lanka point of view. Now,
yes.
The geography of it seems so palpably modern day. At the time it was written, we don't know what the geography exactly was. You can argue about Ram Setu, and those conversations are still going on. So let me ask you on a different tangent, sir. In the sense of Hindu revivalism, you've just seen this absolutely brilliant temple that's been built, Babson, New Jersey. You might be familiar with it. There's another one coming up in Abu Dhabi. It's being very lovingly built, obviously at great effort and great expense. What do you make of this revivalism in Hindu art, in Hindu architecture, in Hindu spirituality? What do you make of all of this, sir?
I have ideas about that. One is, according to DNA and chromosome analysis, at least for the last 70,000 years, all these people that you just mentioned, they have been in India for thousands of years before they migrated. So they have this, the culture does not just run away. You have the humanity with you. So I think that's part of the thing that they really have that culture. But the other thing is that there is a problem in the world. Rama also faced a problem, and how he approached it is a very important thing, because people can associate. Nobody can associate almost with no leader in the world right now. I mean, the days of Mahatma Gandhi and other people are gone when people were associating. So people are feeling very lonely, and I think, my reading of this is that when they hear the story of a simple person who took so much trouble to do the right things, I think that hits them.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
very important.
Okay. So now, I have to. Now I'm going to ask you a different question, sir, before we wind up this interaction. So you've obviously, gone from near Ayodhya, where you say you were born and brought up.
Yeah.
You ended up in Massachusetts. There are a lot of people, sir. I mean, not just the Beatles, but recently, I heard Steve Jobs, your Tim Cook, Mark Zuckerberg. They've all said that that amongst them, during their times of trying to figure out what to do next, and times of trouble and trial and mental fatigue, that they've visited India and they've taken long tours in India to try to rediscover themselves, re-energize their purpose. So a reverse visit has happened. You've obviously gone there to work in the technical field and get involved in economic opportunities. But the people at the helm of economic opportunities, who are incidentally not of Indian descent, have sought to get deeper understanding. I know it became controversial, but we saw in the movie Oppenheimer the references that were being made. Other scientists, Niels Bohr, many others, refer to the Upanishads and the Gita. What is this all indicating to us, sir?
Well, again, I think the important thing to pay attention to is that even though I went for my studies and then for maybe less economic region, more for science, but when you look at the science, the science does not develop into this, even though right now the world thinks that it's the GDP that is driving the science. But really, the real science creativity will come when you are free. And the concept of Ram Raj and the concept of praja is not understood very well right now. Is misunderstood, because people think praja is somebody, just labor. Actually, praja are the prajapati. Brahma is a prajapati, and the Vishwakarma is a god. So these so-called praja were the creative people. Pra means very intense, ja means creative. So it is intensively creative people. And my institutions, I have 3-4 right now, are bringing this whole idea to not only here but also in the United States.
Okay.
When people come there and they see that you are being creative, and that gives you the independence, that gives you the self-reliance, I think that is very attractive.
All right. It was a pleasure interacting with you, Professor Singh. Thanks very much for joining us, and enjoy your trip to India before, of course, you head back in the projects that you're undertaking, which sir has mentioned in Ayodhya as we speak. Of course, his hometown is very near the holy city. That was Professor Balram Singh. He currently lives in Massachusetts, visiting India as we speak.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.